Okay. Okay, so based on what you just learned watching that video, determine what three-dimensional shape will be created by rotating the 2D figure shown below. Okay, we are rotating around the y-axis, so get into the habit of highlighting whatever axis you are rotating around. Okay, so if I were to rotate around the y-axis, what 3D shape would be formed? A cylinder for number 1. Okay, so if you want to draw what that would look like, if you're rotating around the y-axis, your cylinder now looks like this. Okay, number 2, what 3D shape would be created? A cone. Number 3, what 3D shape would be created? A cylinder. This one's a little bit trickier just because the edge doesn't line up right against the axis, but it would create a cylinder. So, in summary, your rectangles that are rotated are going to create what? Cylinders, and your triangles rotated around your axes are going to create what? A cone. Okay? So, looking at our figures in number 1, 2, and 3, if I were to switch the axis on number 1, what dimensions would change? So, say I rotated around the x-axis, what would change about my cylinder? Okay, so you would be rotating it this way. Would it have the same surface area and volume?
Yes. No.
Okay, well, we're going to find out. Guys, raise your hand if you think yes, it'll have the same surface area and volume, no matter the axis. Okay, raise your hand if you think no. Alright, we're going to prove it in a little bit, but we'll just put a pause on that and you'll see. Okay, number 4. When rotated about the y-axis, determine the surface area and the volume. So highlight your axis so you don't mess up. Okay, draw your figure. Okay, it wants to know the surface area and the volume. So get in the habit of first listing everything you know. Okay, so your R, your H, capital B. Okay, what is my radius? 3. What is my height? 5. How do I find the area of my base? Ashlyn, put it away. So you have pi 3 squared. So what is the area of my base? 9 pi units squared. Alright. Okay, looking at your purple sheet, how do you find surface area of a cylinder? What is it? Very good. Guys, there's way too many little side combos going. You should have already had your purple sheet out. Okay. So substitute in for your variables that you know. 2 pi, r is 3, height is 5, plus 2, and we know that pi r squared is 9 pi, so I'm just going to substitute in 9 pi. Okay, when you multiply 5 times 3 times 2 pi, what do you get? 5 times 3 is what? Times 2? 30. Plus 2 times 9 pi?
18 pi.
Very good. So our surface area is what?
48 pi units squared.
Awesome. Okay, how do you find volume of a cylinder?
Pi r squared times height.
Pi r squared times your height. Okay, what's our pi r squared? 9 pi. And what's our height? So what is our volume?
45 pi.
Units cubed. Very good. Okay, so all we're doing is a little extension from what we've already done with our surface area and volume. So now the only thing that we added here is just knowing what kind of 3D shapes are created rotating 2D figures. Okay, moving forward, after you identify what the 3D shape is, it's just doing surface area and volume. Okay, so now for number 5, we are rotating around the x-axis. Okay, so when you rotate around the x-axis, you have a figure like so. What is the radius when I rotate it around the x-axis? 2. What's my height?
4.
Okay, and then you have pi r squared as your base, which is pi 2 squared. So what is the area of my base? Very good. Okay, so again, surface area equals 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. Four times 2 times 2. So what is our total surface area?
24 pi units squared.
Awesome. Okay, for volume, we have pi r squared times height. Our pi r squared was 4 pi. Our height is what? 4. So what is our volume?
15 pi units cubed.
Sophia, Hannah. Very good. Questions? Pretty simple, right? Okay. So where do you think people make mistakes? Bingo. Rotating around the wrong axis. Okay, notice that if you rotate the other way, so let's look at number 5. If I were to rotate around the y-axis, what is my radius? 4. And what's my height? 2. Okay, so it switches it. And so, believe it or not, okay, you're going to find when we turn, but the answers are different. So if you rotate around the wrong axis, you could do all the work right, but then you'll get it wrong because you went around the wrong axis. So that's why it seems silly, but just highlighting the axis so maybe we can limit those little mistakes. Okay? Turn it over. Okay, the next two we have are going to form what? Cones, because we're rotating our triangles. Sorry, it's going to bug me to not bleed this through. Alright, number 6, when rotated about the y-axis. So we're highlighting our y-axis. Draw your little figure. Okay, we'll go R, H. We're going to need what for cones? Slant height and capital B. Okay, what is my radius? 3. What is my height? 4. So what's that going to make my slant height? 5. Pythagorean triple. Okay, area of my base, pi r squared. So pi 3 squared, what do we have? 9 pi units squared. Okay, how do we find surface area of a cone? Awesome. Okay, substitute in. You have pi, r is 3, slant height is 5, plus 9 pi. 5 times 3. So you have 15 pi plus 9 pi. So what is our surface area?
24 pi units.
Sweetness. Okay, how do we find volume of a cone? 1/3 pi r squared times height. Okay, so we have 1/3 of 9 pi times 4. What's 1/3 of 9 pi? 3 pi times 4. Very good. 12 pi what? Units cubed. Questions on 6. Okay, do 7 with the people around you. I'll give you 2 minutes. Do 7 with the people around you. Alright, real quick, what was your radius? 4, because when you go around the x-axis, it should have looked like this. Okay, what was your height?
3.
Slant height?
5.
Area of your base?
15 pi units squared.
Okay, so what was your total surface area?
36 pi units squared.
Very good. And your volume?
16 pi units cubed.
16 pi units cubed. So what do you notice between 6 and 7? Very good. So even though you started with the same triangle, when it's rotated around the two different axes, it actually produces two different answers for your surface area and volume. Okay? Because the thing that's changing is the area of your base. Okay? So, very good. Alright. Answer number 1 and 2 with the people around you. So this time you're rotating a rectangle around the x-axis and the y-axis, and then saying which one has the greater volume.